Assalamu alaikum and good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Classics Show. I am your host, Shabnum Riaz. Today's topic of discussion is literature and peace. And that is a discussion, it's a program that, it's really, really important to focus in the backdrop of what's going on in the world as well. Peace is something that is desired everywhere. And to talk about today's program, we're very happy to have with us in our studios Dr. Zia, who's the Director General of Islamic Research Institute and Professor of Sharia and Islamic Law. Thank you very much, Dr. Zia, for joining us here today.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
The topic today is definitely one of extreme concern. If we look in the backdrop, not just Pakistan or our region of the world in general, it seems that people are yearning for peace. They're yearning for, some sort of message, some sort of reassurance that things will get better, and the violence that we see every day. How does literature contribute in this?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, I'm grateful to you for inviting me on this very important issue. Literature is the manifestation of the society. Various kinds of literature and various types of literature are manifesting various things that are going on in the society. Literature at the same time performing many functions. Literature tells us what is going on in the society. Literature tells us why it is going on. Literature informs what is the outcome of this, what is existing in the society. And literature also leads us towards the estimated future. And at the same time, literature is also relating us to our heritage. Literature is telling us about our past successes and our past failures. And literature is also telling us what would be the impact of our past on our future. So literature is very important for the formation, reconstruction and development of a healthy, civilized and having civic sense society.
Right.
So Pakistani society is a growing society. Literature can help us to make this growing society an inclusive, truly Islamic society.
Now, what you've mentioned, that word there, inclusive, I would say that that is one of the most important priorities that you would set for any society, for any nation. The fact of inclusiveness, that is very, very important in developing that sense of solidarity with each other. Now, how is that focused upon in literature, and how are people working to use that to benefit society?
Actually, there are different manifestations of the society. If the society is intolerated and hate speech is going on in the society, then these different dimensions of the society are representing as differences of the society. But if the society is moving towards the inclusiveness, then these differences are changed into diversity.
Absolutely.
The differences of a society are symbols of the weakness of the society. But if we change these differences into diversity, then it becomes the strength of a society. So an inclusive society means that society is a combination. It is like a bouquet of flowers. Every flower, it has different color. Every flower, it has different
Shape,
smell,
different
its
smell,
fragrance. Now, each flower, it has its individuality, but at the same time, it contributes into the uniform bouquet. So same is the situation in the society.
Right.
For example, if we look into Pakistani society, in Pakistani society, one way to understand the society is to identify the differences, the clashes, and the other way is to say that all these differences, all these clashes are the flavor of one thing. All these are actually part of one big meal. We can say it is separate, but at the same time we can say that all these are actually one thing. For example, if you look into the Pakistani languages, If you start from Karachi and then move towards the northern areas and Kashmir, you will find that each Pakistani language, it is interdependent on the other language. I'm talking about the regional languages.
Right.
And all Pakistani languages, it has a very close relationship with Urdu. And Urdu, it has a close relationship with Arabic and Persian. So, lot of patterns and lot of foundations of unity are existing in the diversity that is prevailing in our society. Unfortunately, due to the increasing tendencies of intolerance, we are unable to identify these diversities of the society, and the focus is on differences. Even sometimes the diversity that is already inbuilt diversity, we are representing it as the differences of the society. In our society, due to the efforts of individual efforts, there has been a very successful process of adoption and adaptation. And there has been a successful process of integration. And that process of integration is on the basis of the regional literature that is written in regional languages, but it is serving a same purpose, and that is uniting the society.
Right, that's absolutely true. And now we're speaking about, like you said, regional languages as well, and the importance of them, and how everything is interlinked with each other. Now, are we doing enough to promote our regional languages and bringing them into the mainstream and giving them representation as well? And if not, what can we do?
Actually, we need to change the perception. There was perception, that perception is already changing, but we have to change it. The perception, we were used to say that Alakai languages, regional languages. We should not say regional languages. We should say Pakistani languages.
Okay.
Pashto is Pakistani, Balochi is Pakistani, Brahvi is Pakistani, Sindhi is Pakistani, Saraiki is Pakistani, Punjabi is Pakistani, Kashmiri is Pakistani. Every language, every culture, everything is Pakistani.
So you started the inclusion there,
yes,
in the description.
In the description. Even if we move towards the dresses, we move towards the music, we move towards the meals, we will find that we are inherently by nature inbuilt inclusively.
Right.
If you look in the taste of the meal, the taste of the meal, for example, meal of Pakhtun, it is marketed by Punjab. Meal of the Punjab, it is marketed in Quetta. And the Saji of Quetta, no, it is the most wanted dish in every city of the Punjab.
That's true.
So it means the society is ready to be an inclusive society.
Right.
And another important thing that happened, that few decades before, some elements of the society, they were not interested in the unity. But now the Pakistan has moved on such a place where every element, even the nationalist, they are thinking their interests will be better protected within an inclusive Pakistani society. So these are good signs for the strength of the Pakistani society.
And as you're saying, the sense of optimism, because so many things are dealt with at a psychological warfare. A war has started before a single bullet has been fired. It's things that are going on in the mind. So, this fikri jihad, tell us about that.
Yeah, actually it is the thinking. Thinking is shaping the action. First of all, we think something.
Yeah.
Then we imagine, is it correct or not? And if we consider that it is correct, then that correction is leading us towards the action. Action,
absolutely. And many a time you have a thought that you do not want to entertain at all because you have a perception, a single perception, I'm right, they're wrong. That's also a manifestation of intolerance, isn't it?
Yeah, and actually there's a aspirative nature of Pakistani nature. That aspirative nature it can be used as a tool for the construction of the society, if we will not use that as a tool for the construction, then it will be used for the destruction of the society.
Absolutely.
And if this aspiration is constructed on the basis of tolerance and ethics of disagreement, then this aspiration will unite the whole nation. Otherwise, some of elements of the society, on the basis of wrong understanding of the aspiration, they will contribute in the destruction of the society. And we have seen in recent years that this is happening. It has increasing intolerance in our society. It is actually the result of the absoluteness, arrogance that has emerged on the basis of this aspiration. A person is thinking, I am the truly torch bearer of the righteousness. I am the righteousness person, so every person has to follow me.
Right.
And if anyone is not following me, then I have the right to kill him. I have a right to
Reject them
destroy
as a
him.
human being.
Yeah, and this type of understanding, it is even we can see the arrogance. Even on the basis of religion, some people they became arrogant, and they started. They don't have proper information about the faith. They don't have proper information what is the possibility of understanding of the faith and the interpretations of rulings of the faith. They ignore the probability in the interpretation, and they move towards the absoluteness, and they are considering that their understanding is the only one understanding. Their understanding has to be followed by everyone, and whoever will not follow their understanding, he is liable to be killed or he is liable to be punished. And this has divided our society, this has created hate in our society, and it has contributed in the destruction of society in some parts. So this is a big challenge in my opinion, and we have to move towards that challenge.
Absolutely true. So when we're talking about, the main battleground, if you, just for lack of a better word to describe it, the main battleground is then in the mind, where you are exposed to information, you're receiving it, you're processing it, you're accepting it or rejecting it.
Yeah, you are
and
right.
You're thinking, so on a daily basis, not just a daily basis, nearly, going on every minute, you're receiving information and your mind is working to think, okay, is that something that is acceptable to me or not? When we talk about open-mindedness and we talk about, the society in general, and then the very important word that you used, intolerance, I feel that as a nation, we are lacking the skills to be able to disagree with someone politely while having your own perception of something, but then to also give them the space and the respect that, okay, these are my views, these are yours, let's agree to disagree. Please tell us about that.
Yeah, actually, this is our heritage. Our heritage, and this is named Adab Mara'at al-Khalaf, ethics of disagreement. Even in religious literature, if you go into the interpretations of Quran, if you look into the classical compilations of Sharia law, you will find there variety of opinions. And sometimes these opinions are totally contradictory to another opinion.
Okay.
We follow these opinions. These opinions were controlled and driven through a process of ethics of disagreement. We are trying to understand these opinions without this basic ingredient, and that is the ethics of disagreements.
Right.
Muslim Jews, for example, in classical Islamic period, they were understanding. I will give you some examples. For example, once companions of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they were entering into the mosque of Nabawi. Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that where he is, he should sit there. Some of the companions, they were at the gate, entrance. Some sat immediately there, and others, they entered into the mosque and sat in the mosque. So Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam considered that this is the legitimate action. It means our understanding is different from each other, and the compliance will depend on our understanding. And there is possibility of variation in the compliance. There's no restriction in it at all. The same is the situation. For example, if we look into the Imam Abu Hanifa, majority of the people in Pakistan and India and subcontinent, they're following Hanafi school of thought. In Hanafi school of thought, Imam Abu Hanifa and 3-4 of his famous students, in many views they are disagreeing with each other. But at the same time, all these differences of opinions are part of Hanafi fiqh. Imam Abu Hanifa, he has a majlis for compilation of fiqh. First of all, they were trying to reach on consensus. But at the same time, they were accepting divergent views. And divergent views were recorded with the diversity that was existing there. So it means whenever we have to deal with such type of interpretations, we have to deal it with ethics of disagreement. And these ethics of disagreement has not to brought in the ordinary common people. In ordinary common society, we have to tell to the people that this is obligation on you, this is prohibited on you, and here you have the right to move forward as you like. We have not to involve them too much in the philosophy of the things, because if we will involve them too much in the philosophy of the things, then they don't have the sufficient skills to understand what is going on behind that philosophy. Therefore, the intellectuals of the society, they have to build their fikr, their thought on the basis of ethics of disagreement. And through this process, in this process of the construction of the thought, we have to learn how we can change differences into diversity, how we can disagree in an agreeable way. If we learn it, it will contribute. It will contribute in the individual personality. It will contribute in the strength of the family. It will contribute in the strength of the institutions. And even it will contribute, if our politicians, they learn ethics of disagreement, it will contribute in the political stability of the society.
That's so true. And then it also has a trickle-down effect, because what happens is that, you know, people who are acting in a certain way, especially they're in places of authority, they are sending a message. They are sending a message, especially for our, you know, the more vulnerable people, children, people who are forming their views, and they will subconsciously register that, okay, so this is the norm. This is how a person is behaving in general in the public. So when we talk about intelligent quotient, you know, nowadays lots of emphasis is being placed upon the emotional quotient as well. How do you stabilize a nation who can get emotionally incited through literature, through writings, through reading? How can you get that? How can you garner that force?
Yeah, thank you very much. This is a very important question. Actually, we are in a reactionary mood. We have to change our nation from reactionary mood to actionary mood. And that can be done through the literature.
Absolutely.
The terminology for literature in Arabic and Persian and Urdu, it is adab. Adab is not only the literature. Adab is the value. Adab is the etiquettes. Adab is morality. Adab is spirituality. So it is the binding force and the constructive force of the society. And when we are saying the society is representing Islamic civilization, it means society is comprises upon the people who are civilized. Muhazzab. And this tahzeeb is actually when we have made them proper. We have separated unwanted parts from that personality, and we have shaped it in a wanted way. So therefore we have to make our society muhazzab. And for a muhazzab society, and for a civilized society, everywhere adab is necessary. We have removed it. In our schools, in our universities, in our colleges, the majority of
How have we allowed this to happen?
Actually, as I told you, the society was changing from actionary mood to reactionary mood. When the society was in an actionary mood, even during the construction, during the independence movement, Muslims, they demanded Pakistan for creation, for reconstruction of a Pakistani society, because this was the philosophy of Allama Iqbal, that we have to reconstruct a Muslim society. And for that purpose, he was using his literature, poetry, particularly his poetry. Allama Iqbal, he was a wonderful writer of all type of literature. Even his Nasr.
Recognized all over the world.
But he said, the effect of the Nasr is long lasting. The effect of the poetry is immediately. So poetry he used for immediate contribution towards the creation of Pakistan. So we created Pakistan for construction, not for destruction. Our four founders, they were aware of that situation. There are few historical facts that, for example, in 1948, an Institute of Reconstruction was established at Lahore. And Allama Asad was appointed its first director. And the responsibility of that institute was that the institute will regulate what is to be said in the khutbahs, how the discourse of the understanding of religion and religiosity has to be advanced in the society, and how the different segments of the society has to be regulated. And under that institute, several steps were proposed. For example, how the departments of Islamic studies would be established in the universities. That institute, it worked until 1951, and later on the institute became ineffective, and then in the Constitution of 1956, another institute, Islamic Research Institute, that I am presently heading, that was proposed in the Constitution of Islamic Republic of Pakistan, 1956, and that institute established in 1960. And the purpose of the institute was to contribute, in accordance with the objective resolution, reconstruction of the Pakistani society. For the reconstruction of the society, we have to keep the society on actionary mood, not on reactionary. Reactionary mood can use for destruction. It cannot use for construction. Construction demanded thinking, deep
investment,
emotional planning, and emotional stability. Without emotional stability, you cannot construct.
That's true.
Destruction, you can destruct within few minutes. For example, this building of PTV, it required huge investment for the construction, planning, investment, resources. And for destruction, it required few hours only, and it will be destroyed. So our nation, our attitude, majority of the emotionalism that is going on in our society, it is contributing in the destruction of the society. What we need is that our intellectual leadership, our literature, our poetry, it should contribute to change the nation from reactionary mood to action. And another thing that is very important, that adab, poetry, it inculcates in individual the value of probability. In that value, one can understand, I am correct, but there is a possibility of falseness in myself. Other is not correct, but there is a possibility that he is correct and I am not understanding him properly.
My perception
may be wrong. And another thing is that we considered our opinions, due to that emotionalism that is prevailing in our society, we considered our opinions reality. Opinion is not reality. Opinion is subject to verification.
Of course, and it changes.
It changes. Opinion. This is the reason that what we were, our love, our hate, our choices are changing from time to time. And we considered then, because of emotionalism, whatever we consider that it is correct, we consider it absolutely correct, and then we are not ready to understand whatever else is there.
That's
so
true.
this leads to extremism.
Of course.
Extremism in understanding, extremism in action, extremism in even politics.
Of course.
We move to the extreme ends.
Very easily.
And when we are on the extreme ends, then who will bridge the gap? And without bridging the gap, how nation will move forward?
Exactly.
Literature can contribute in bridging the gap.
What you're saying is of such, it's so important. It's something that should be taken up, in every forum, I would think. The reactionary phase that we're in at the moment, it seems to be so easy to incite people, to incite mob mentality, to incite a specific political agenda. All you need to do is throw the right ball to the right people, and they're willing to catch it, and they're willing to throw it back in the form of something that is very explosive. Now, another thing, judgmental. We seem to be very judgmental because that's also part of the reactionary mode as well. We'll be given some information, and before we take that information, absorb it, and try to disseminate that, what exactly did that mean? Because everybody else is reacting in a certain specific way, which means we should be as well. And so that judgmental element comes in, and then again, that's part and parcel of the tolerance. How do we address that issue?
Actually, this judgmental tendency is increasing day by day because of, I will say, media is also contributing in that. For example, an anchor person, when he or she is speaking,
absolutely,
he is
huge
using the judgmental language, and the people who are representing different parties, different sects, different schools of thought, they are not speaking on the basis of the reality. They are speaking on the basis of what their party, they are demanding. So in that situation, one group is judgmental to say that other is wrong, and other is judgmental to say that we are correct. And that judgmental mentality leading towards the tendency of takfir. And that is very dangerous. So we have not to be judgmental. Everyone has to claim, and it is right of every person, and every person, it should be the aspiration of every person, that I'm a good Pakistani, I'm a good Muslim, I love Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, but at the same time, he has not that right that the other one, he's not a good Pakistani, he's not a good Muslim. And we have not to blame that he's a bad person. We have to demonstrate, and we have to struggle to show that I'm a good person. If I'm not a good person, I have to work to make myself good person. But why I insist that other is bad? It is not necessary to become a good to show that other is bad. Nation is needed, all good people, are majority of the good people, not few good people.
Very true. It's something very interesting that we were talking about before we started recording. We were talking about interpersonal communication as well. Yeah. And in light of a disagreement, you mentioned something that was, I found that was also a core issue, that if you find that somebody else is, not on the same page as you are, or you're having a disagreement, the first way that you discredit them, you would
and unfortunately, for example, at home, in the society, in mahalla, in village, in city, in a town, in an institution, in an organizing. Actually, the problem is that we don't know how to disagree in an agreeable way.
Yeah.
When someone is disagreeing with our opinion, we immediately blamed him.
And we get offended.
And we get offended. And the blame is very serious. For example, if it is a male, we blame on his faith. If she is a female, we blame on her honor. And this became normality. Unfortunately, this situation is moving towards the normality, and that is very dangerous, because This is the first step. When we declare someone that his faith is not correct, in the second step, we made him vulnerable to be attacked.
True.
And again, the tendency of mob justice is increasing in our society.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So our children, they're at risk. I mean, everybody's basically at risk, but those formative years, how can, you know, because we have a syllabus that usually engages a child for a major part of the day, it doesn't leave them with much time to have, you know, fun literature or something that they would enjoy reading, creative writing. How can we ensure that at home for our children to make sure that their imagination, because they're being exposed to television in many places, in many homes, television goes on, it's not, you know, it's not being followed. The parents probably have the television on. The child is being exposed to a lot of information, and they're not monitoring really what's going on in a child's mind. What do they need to do? What do parents need to do?
Actually, what is happening is that usually in advanced societies, it is the educational institute which lead the society. Unfortunately, in Pakistan, the society is leading the educational institutions.
Oh, that is such a...
And the tendencies, increasing tendencies of intolerance, violence, sectarianism, and division, all types of divisions inside the society, they are moving towards the educational institutions.
Right.
Even children in first, second, third class in the primary school, they are experiencing division, ethnic division, sectarian division. Children, they are asking, that friend is Sunni or Shia, what I am? He is belonging to that caste. What is my caste? He is Christian, I am Muslim. Whether I have to interact with him, whether I have to play with him or not. And such type of things are increasing. We need to dilute these things. We need to tell to the children, we need to allow them to understand. We should not put them in the same mindset in which we are. And sometimes the students of the educational institutes, they are used for interior motives by this mob mentality. We have seen many examples of that in our society.
Very tragic.
Few things, they don't have information, but they have been provided judgmental views, and on the basis of these judgmental views, they became biased, and on the basis of that, they are creating extreme acts of violence, killing other people and like this. Such type of things are very serious and dangerous for the future of the society. And I think the intellectuals, particularly the religious leadership, and there are examples in many areas. For example, I personally know in Multan, once there was sectarian tension, and the administration and law enforcement agencies, they were unable to solve it. It was solved by the religious leaders. Religious leaders of all sects, they sit together.
Right.
And they resolved that tension. It means
Fantastic.
they have a very important role.
Of course, very
they
powerful
can contribute in formation of true Islamic society. But at the same time, if they can, otherwise if they are using their energies, they can do it. So the same is the situation. Religious leaders, teachers. Teacher is a role model. A student is watching his teacher for three hours consecutively. He's a model in front of him or her.
The teacher's never wrong.
Yeah, and students considered, particularly at school level, we consider that whatever teacher is saying, it is correct.
Yes.
And
even more than what the parents are saying.
Yeah, more than the parents. If the teacher is not correct, if the teacher is wrong, it means the teacher is contributing into preparation of a wrong generation.
What a huge responsibility.
Yeah, and at the same time, then parents. Why parents, they are working? Why they are earning money? What for the future of their children? In that process of earning money, in career making, they don't have time for their children. They're earning that money for their children, but due to due to non-availability of time for the children, they're losing their children. The children need
that time.
Need time.
That need that one-on-one.
They need partnership and they need friendship with the parents. They need money, but at the same time, friendship with the children is very important. And parents, they have to sit with the children. It will contribute into their balanced personality.
So
Children, they have questions.
That need answers.
They have inquiries. We need to answer them. Children, they are not children. Children, they have full personality.
And many times, actually, you will witness situations where the personality is being broken.
Yeah.
Because they're being told, be quiet. Stop asking so many questions. I don't have the time to answer that right now.
Answer that. And then we are leaving them, when we are leaving children unanswered.
You're leaving them vulnerable to get that
answers from
somewhere
wrong
else.
places.
Absolutely true.
And if they have wrong answers and they consider it correct answer, then it will affect on their personalities. So we need a comprehensive movement, and that comprehensive movement has to be led by the literature, that has to led by the adab, that has to led by a true national narrative. That narrative can contribute in the construction of an Islamic civilized Pakistani society.
The words you're mentioning are the civilization, tolerance and inclusion. These are those words that are so important, but are they being given the priority that they need? Are these things that are being discussed at home in educational institutions? Are people consciously understanding, the value and the importance behind them? And are we really, we're so busy in day-to-day activities and things going on, and in this fast-paced world, are we understanding what's important? Do we have our priorities right?
It is not in our priority. The intellectuals, they understood the importance of these things, but it is not in the priority. For example, mainstream media. Mainstream Pakistani media is involved in political discussions. They don't discuss the real issues that the society is facing. They're not contributing in making Pakistani society a civilized society. We reduce the meaning of civilization and culture just to, when we're saying about the cultural show, for example, it means just few dances, songs and like this. No, this is not. Civilization and culture, it has a comprehensive understanding.
It's art.
Yeah, it is an art of living. Are we contributing to tell our generation towards that art of living? For example, Pakistani society, we have discussed too much about the weaknesses of our society, but it is not totally weak society. There are many strong elements in the society.
It's very resilient.
It is resilient, and people, they are ready to sacrifice for each other. I have seen many foreigners, when they came to Pakistan, immediately they disturbed. Traffic is not organized. There are many other problems. But when they started living in the society, they understand the love and affection of the Pakistani people.
True.
In other developed countries, immediately you will find everything is okay.
Yes.
When you settled there, you will realize that there are many problems.
Missing.
Yeah, and in Pakistan,
It's
immediately you will understand that everything is disturbed. But when you will start living in Pakistani society, you will realize that how great that society is.
Absolutely.
What we need is that we should remove the problems that our society is facing, and we should enhance and we should give strength to the power of the society, to the characteristics that our society needed, we should give it. And I think the construction of the society should came on priority. It should came on the priority, because the construction of the society will contribute into the social stability, political stability, economic stability.
True.
Present discourse in our society, particularly political discourse, it is contributing in the destruction of the society. It is creating disappointment in the society.
Yeah.
Ibn Khaldun, he has warned the governments. He is saying that do not let the people to disappoint.
Yes.
If they will be disappointed,
Yeah.
the future will be dark.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, present going on this discourse in the media, and not only in the media, this is the discourse everywhere in the society, and that discourse is dividing the society.
That's true.
It is contributing into division and further division and further division. We need to change that discourse. As we need to change the whole mood of the nation from reaction to action, we need to change the mood of division and destruction into unity and construction.
Okay, so somebody watching this program today, you know, they're understanding where the problems are and they're understanding everything. And then they think, you know, okay, how can literature help me? How can literature help me become an actionary person from a reactionary person? What's your advice?
Ah, that is wonderful. You know, literature will initiate a dialogue. My dialogue with myself.
Oh, wonderful.
I need to
Absolutely.
talk with myself.
So true.
I need to talk what I need. What is my mistake? What is my weakness? What is my power? I like to understand it. And literature will let me to know. Literature will give words to my feelings. I have feelings.
Right.
I cannot express these feelings. I need words to express these feelings. Literature will give me these words. I have expressions, but I don't know how to demonstrate these expressions. Literature will help me to get the voice for demonstration. So literature is very important. It will make my society, my personality civilized, muhazzab, and literature will help me to contribute in creation of a wonderful environment inside me.
Absolutely.
It will provide satisfaction to my spirit, my soul, my body.
You know, that is a fantastic thought. And I think that everyone who's watching the program today, if they just go away with that idea, it is also so soothing, isn't it?
Yeah,
It gives you hope, as you said, the optimism, the antidote to disappointment is so important.
So it is very important. For example, if a student is sure that he will not get good marks, he will not work hard.
Of course.
If you ensure him that if you will work hard, you will get good marks, he will immediately act and start working to get good marks.
Absolutely.
We have to encourage. Literature will encourage. Literature will help us to modify the environment in which we will be able to achieve our goals.
Absolutely fantastic. As we're approaching the end of the program now, I'm going to just read a poem from my book that I wrote about peace. It's very relevant to the program. The title is Whispering Wind. O wondrous, mystic, whispering wind, what secrets lie within the air of sounds once known to lovers' songs who promised everlasting care? What hidden myths were swept ahead to make their way through eras gone? The wars they lost, the hearts they won, the cries of time still float along. But you have known each hill and plain and been to every darkest cave, then graced the oceans with your touch to shape the mood of every wave. So take these words along with you to sweep the earth's each fold and crease. Caress all ears with prayers of love. Become the breeze that preaches peace.
That is wonderful. I will conclude saying that अंधेरों में भी मंजिल पर पहुंच सकते हैं मगर जुगनू को रास्ता तो याद होना चाहिए.
Wonderful.
And
That's
literature will
wonderful.
help us to know where is the way.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Zia, for joining us here today. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and with that, we come to the end of today's program. Hope you have enjoyed watching it as much as we have. We've had a fantastic conversation. And do take, what Dr. Zia said, that the ability to be able to talk to oneself is one of the most empowering experiences. So until next week, stay happy. Bye-bye.